last time we did the interview, last two times, I was calling you Mika. And now I know you've done an interview with Tristan, and he's like, Micah. And I was like, wait, surely you just said it wrong. And then it turns out I was the one who was wrong the whole time. So, Micah, it is great to see you again. This time pronouncing your name correctly. Just for some context for the viewer, last time we done the interview, you were making 5,000 per month at 17 years old through copywriting and a sales job. So I think at the time sales was kind of the main gig and you're doing copywriting on the side. And actually
Mhm.
the interview before that, you were purely doing copywriting. You were 16 at the time. You had made 15,000 in 3 months. That was back in March. And then the follow up was in July. And now it's another 3 months later. And here we are. How are you? That was a mini introduction. So over to you.
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, I've had people call me many different things with my name, so it's no problem at all. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I the sales thing, dropped that and been focusing fully on copywriting. Replaced that income in a week and a half.
Hmm.
Landed a client, discovery project, $1,000 in the bank, done, replaced. And then we have a retainer relationship going on there.
Okay.
So it, with the tools that I have, it's not exactly hard to stay steady at 5K, even with being in school and in the middle of basketball season. So
Hmm. Okay. So the way you said it, again, just sounds completely effortless. Yeah. In 1 week, just completely replace the sales job. It is what it is. No big
mm,
deal. So for other people, though, I'd say that is a very big deal. So why do you think it's different for you? Why do you just see it as a light work?
well, because people don't really put in effort, right? Like so, most people will sit down at the computer for 3 hours during the day, thinking that they're working, but in reality, they've only put 30 minutes of meaningful work in. If you sit down at the computer and everything's timed, right? So you're racing against the clock, and in between work sessions, you're going and doing something else to refresh your brain. You're not going on your phone. But when you're doing it, all your energy is being poured into this one task, right? Like usually have a to-do list. There's a few things to do. Now for that week, it was one thing every single day. Done, 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 done. Knock it out. And when you think about that, like 4 to 5 hours every single day, we're getting poured into getting this done. Um, obviously it happened, right? So
Hmm. Exactly. Very cool. And as you say, you're still in high school final year, right?
yeah, senior year.
Basketball season. So I'm presuming you've mentioned that because you play basketball, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Yep, exactly.
So a load of things taking up your time, and you're still making an extra 5K per month. What would you say to people then who say, well, I've got school, got all these things. I can't make any money because I don't have enough time. So you're just saying it's about efficiency and actually dedication and productivity, but that's a weird way to put it.
10% of it is the skills.
Only
Ninety
10%.
percent of it is
Damn.
it.
Only
I just say
10%.
10. Only 10%. Yeah, 10% of it is the skills. 90% of 10% is the skills. 10% is the networking, and 80% is the willingness to sit down and actually do the work. And that's what I would say. And I mean, you can find time, whatever, school, 9 to 5 job. Everybody can start with an hour a day, dedicated work. Everybody can do that, unless you're working 15 hours a day. Then maybe it's a little tough. But even then, there are stories of people who have done it. So I don't necessarily have a lot of sympathy for people who don't do that because, like, good, I'll do it, so I'll
Mhm.
win.
Exactly.
That's about it.
Okay. Now, in terms of clients, how many clients are you working with and what are you doing for them?
Four and marketing for all of them. And first client would be a lot more on the social media end and getting attention. The other client is back end kind of upsells, cross sells, that kind of thing, putting in those systems. And this client is putting in systems so that we can launch a value ladder for her to lead up to her main offer, which means it's going to bring in a lot more income when she's talking one to many versus one to one all the time because
Mhm.
it's a service based business.
Go. And how did you land your most recent client, if you're comfortable revealing?
Yeah, it's fine. I hopped on like four calls. All of four of those people liked me. I still have a bunch of referrals to go through. But I got on the calls. I smiled. I presented myself. I implemented some of the things from the sales campuses, and then also like how to win friends and influence people. So I did all that. I got on these calls. Some of them didn't lead to anything. I think two of them didn't lead to anything. One of them led to another referral, and then one of them, the guy really liked me, and he's referred me to like five other people. So I'm like messaging other people. So that's all. It's just networking. You
Mhm.
get in front of the right people, and you present the right image, and then it's just a matter of getting results and proving you can get results, and that part should be the easy part.
Right. It's interesting what you say about presenting the right image because that is something you can rarely fake. You actually need to be grounded in reality for that. In the sense that you need to be putting in the work in yourself in order
Mhm.
to come off that way to other people. And I'm sure it's something again you've been doing. So in terms of physicality, how has that been progressing? Do you just do basketball and do you go gym as well?
Yeah, no, of course. Lift 4 to 5 times a week. Basketball practice right now is like 3 times a week plus team lift.
Mhm.
And then also like I'll box once a week just to make sure I stay uh armed and dangerous in
There you
that
go.
category. So I mean
Um,
that's the most important one in
mhm.
life, I think.
What about extra learning things you're doing? Since you talked about Think and Grow Rich, that's clearly a book that's not in the real world. So, what extra things are you learning outside of just work?
Yeah, I mean I like Hormozy's books. They're pretty good. $100 million offers, $100 million leads. Pretty great. There's live trainings that you get access to once you get to a high enough level inside of the real world. Breaking down certain aspects of like how to productize your offer, how to scale, how to build a team, how to hire, all that kind of stuff. The same copywriting professor goes through all of that. It's just for like people who are actually about it. So I go go through that, and we just go through all those resources, watch them a few times, and then implement. And that's about it. I don't really necessarily go and do a bunch of extracurricular stuff
Mhm.
to just to learn, because I mean, like, if I'm not implementing what I'm learning, why am I learning it?
Yeah, yeah,
The one exception to that would be religion, which would be like the Bible and stuff like that, which I make sure to read daily and do all that because I think that's an important part of one society, and two is like just grounding yourself as a person. So that's something I've been doing recently, but that's about it.
mhm. The reason I asked all those questions was just to give the listener an idea of how efficient you are with your day.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
to put that all into perspective, what does your average day look like now?
I can tell you. I mean, it's right here, but it really depends on how early I'd start the day. Depends on the practice schedule, right? So sometimes we'll have a morning practice. That means I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. Go to practice, and then afterward, it's read the Bible, prayer, shower, sunlight, water, coffee, and then it's work session. Knock out what I need to get done, um, and then it's that's a deep work session, 1 hour, usually from 8 to 9, and then I'll spend 30 minutes and go through just like the daily like notifications, posts, whatever. Um, and then I'll do another like 30, 35 minutes of work on my productizing my offer. So at this point, it's around 9:30, 9:35. Get ready, go to school, um, sit in class. Usually do work in class as well, just just in case. Just in case I need to get a little extra done. I have the ability to do that, and it's not an issue because classes are easy. It's senior year, and after that, it's practice again. Come home, Another deep work session. This one's for 90 minutes. Get everything done that I need to get done in that day, whether it's client work, whether it's personal stuff, whatever I'm specifically trying to accomplish that week or that month. That's when I'll double down right there, and then I'll spend time with family and friends or whatever at like 7, 8, maybe for an hour.
Mhm.
That'd be about it.
Okay, first thing is explain what is productizing your offer. What does that mean?
Right. So it's having a simple system that you actually use, and it's naming it and doing all like the fun stuff, right? And you're naming this, and you have a system of, let's say I've worked with a client and I've gotten her this result, right? Now I'm gonna turn around and say, hey, um, let's say I launch a product for her, and it makes 8 grand in a month. So I can say like 6-figure product launch in a week, right? Because 8 grand over months is 6 figures, and it's just a name. So then you productize that by giving it that kind of package. And then once you give it that package, you actually have to have the systems in place to deliver. And then once you can deliver, then you're going to get word of mouth, and then you can put case studies on your website, and then you can scale up from there. And then you can add on a team, and you can do all the really fun stuff, and that's where all the real money's made.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's like next steps.
Let's go a bit more into that because that's something you rarely really hear. Because people who come on as copywriters, they usually just mainly copywriters. They don't consider themselves as marketers. But as you say, that's the next step and going along that route. So explain, how do things scale as you become a marketer, full stack, full stack marketer? I don't know how else to say it.
Okay, so this is my plan. So you have your offer, you have case studies, and then you're gonna have to bring on a team at some point. And then with that team, they get percentage of whatever money is made on that projects. That way you don't have too high overhead. That way you're always gonna stay above. You're always gonna stay in profit. Done. Cool. Case studies on the website. You have a few retaining clients, and then you have an eat what you kill basis part of that as well. I love doing the writing aspect of it, but maybe I have someone else do the research, have someone else do graphic design, have someone else do web design, that kind of stuff. Have a video editor in there, and that way, when we say like, "Hey, we're going to completely make over your website and add sales pages onto it, and it's going to look amazing, and it's going to, completely revolutionize your business on the online standpoint," we can actually deliver on that. From there, it's usually collecting an upfront payment to make sure that the client has a commitment made to the process. Because when people don't have a commitment made, they're very unlikely to actually follow through. That money stays in the Stripe account. It's not touched because at the end of it all, if the client isn't happy, you have a full refund basis. That way, you keep everything low risk for them, but you're offering an immense value, and you have case studies to back it up, and you have a team, and you guys can get it done quickly. And once you get it done quickly, that's when, like, okay, how many clients can I take on? I can take on 8 now instead of 2 or 3 or 4. I can take on 8 new clients a month versus 2. And then you can scale that up, and you can be like, okay, there's team 1, there's team 2, there's team 3, and whatever. That's
No.
about it. That's what the plan is.
Huge. So yeah, huge potential there. Thank you for the breakdown. Now, going back to when you're describing your day, it's actually very balanced in a way. People might think, "Oh, you're working so much, you're overdoing it," but it's actually balanced because you're including sport into it, exercise, then actually socializing with a family or friends. So you have all the necessities covered during your day, and I think
Yeah.
that's something people don't really understand because they think, you need to be working 18 hours a day or else you're unproductive. But then that's where burnout actually happens. Whereas if you have a balanced day where you're still super productive, but in a balanced way, covering all the other necessities, social, physical, and whatever else, then you can just do this long term. Would you agree? Would you have anything else to add?
Yeah, completely. I mean, there's gonna be times, and there are times. That's the average day, right? There are times where deadline's coming up and I need to meet
Right.
it, or it's a time where I decide like, okay, I'm getting a little too comfortable here. I need to like spend 4 days and all I do is work and then just push through this barrier, right? That's what I guess the copywriting professor Andrew calls a war mode. And there are times when that'll be necessary, especially when things get really busy. Like if there's practice, a game, lift, and I have a deadline I have to meet. Obviously, like I'm not going to be socializing.
Hmm.
That's about it. So I mean, there's the average day, and then there's the like, okay, I need to get this done. What am I going to sacrifice to get it done?
Or,
And then during the times where it's kind of harder in that way, and you are teetering on the edge of burnout, that's when your competition's quitting, and you're not. So,
mhm. Right. That's a good way of putting it. And yeah, a majority of the time is short bursts when you do the very intense work. It's
yeah,
not prolonged over months at a time because at that point, I think is when it becomes unsustainable.
yeah.
Okay, fair. Nice. So, do you remember in total then, since joining the real world, how much it is that you have made?
Well, I also just bought a car, so that's interesting.
Right, right. Con-
So let's say I put 10 grand down on that, 2 grand invested. It's like 20. I'd say close to 40, 30, 30, 35 to 40 grand so
mhm.
far.
And what car did you buy? Was it your dream car?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I've always loved the Dodge
Hmm.
brand, so I got a Challenger, kind of like classic sport model, and the RT, so it's the Hemi engine, which means it's loud and it's fast. So
Right.
yeah,
At 17?
quite fun. 17, yeah,
And all
17.
self earned for your own hard
Yep.
work.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I remember something you told me about during the last interview that you wanted to get that car. And here we
Yep.
are. Now you have it. When did it
Acquired.
arrive? When did you get it?
Early September. Early September. Um, yeah, just kind of found one, went down like a few hours to a CarMax, put the money down, signed the papers with a legal guardian
Mhm.
there, and because I'm still a minor
Right,
technically,
right.
and drove it home, and that happened in the span of a day. It was pretty surreal to like replace the car that I had been driving, which was like a Toyota
Mhm.
Prius, with the with the car that I've been wanting to get for a long time. And the thing I like about it is the fact that like, okay, well, if I get slightly bored of it, I can mod it, I can wrap it, I can do all these other things, and it's fast. So
Mhm. Awesome.
I like that.
Living the
It's like a
dream.
tank.
How was any more in terms of lifestyle changes then? You got your dream car. Was there anything else?
Yeah, I mean, as you progress in that kind of way, you want to portray yourself in a different fashion. So there's like, obviously, this is like the morning. Like I just got back inside from reading the Bible fit, right? But like, you have a watch or two. Um, that's just kind of like status, and then you want to wear like nicer brands, that kind of stuff. That's what I would say in terms of lifestyle changes. Other than that, it's all very linear. That's not what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on setting the foundation to where like, okay, now I have this amount of money coming in, and then obviously the goal is to get to the ultimate investment, which is real estate, and then from there is like it's just building an empire.
Okay. Very solid.
Yeah.
And you recently had an interview with Tristan. So how was that experience?
Ooh, that was crazy. Yeah, no, that was really cool. He's it's surreal talking to a guy like that because he's just extremely articulate, and then you can just there's a certain energy of like that just exudes from like energy. One, like he's never like low energy, like he's always on,
Mhm.
and that's something I need to work on because I can get low energy sometimes. And he's just really seems like a very genuinely like cool freaking person, and that's about it.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I appreciate you for that one because you put me in contact there. So gotta give my
But
props to Rokus
you're
here.
the one who put in the work for it. So it was an
Yeah,
easy recommendation.
appreciate that.
All right. Now, any more in terms of differences from 3 months ago? Because for someone, this is a question I've asked quite often now. For someone who's putting in as much work as you are, you're going to be progressing at a completely different rate than an average person. So in
Yeah,
just 3 months, I'm sure you have seen changes in yourself, right?
yeah, of course.
And what would those be?
Fitness is way better. There's less distraction and the way of like my mind my before when you're shifting from like the normal to like wanting to be more, right? Or work harder or accomplish more. There's that transitionary period where like you still get distracted by this, by that. And that's gone. That's pretty cool. Having lined out goals specifically, have and then just creating back end systems for my business to where I can fulfill client needs very easily. I'm not stressed about it. It's just it's all under control and it's all setting the foundation for a big rise, that's for sure. So
Right.
next time it's much more last 3 months has been like one personal and then two just like back end
Mhm.
getting everything in place. But next interview we do see some big changes in terms of lifestyle.
Easy. And I'm 100% sure that will happen. Now, in terms of mentors,
Mm.
who or can be a few people would you say has had the biggest impact on you to help you get to where you are now?
Andrew Bass is huge from the copywriting campus. That professor talks a lot about mindset and ruthlessly pushing forward towards your goals, and then also like being in the same field I'm in. That lines up. Obviously, there's the Tates and all that kind of stuff in terms of speaking your mind, having an opinion, and defending your opinion ruthlessly. Um, there's Justin Waller on like how you treat people and why that matters in that kind of way. Um, and then there's obviously parents and people in my life personally that are still mentors, but in terms of business, I would say like that would be similarly it. I look up to people like you and like Pablo who have put yourself in this situation to be around these people and to learn from and to provide value to them as well. So I'd say I definitely look up to you guys as well. So that'd be about it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you're a inspiration as well to everyone listening and to myself because maybe, okay, let me think out toward this. You have a lot of potential ahead of you at 17 years old. Look, you already bought your dream car. And it's not like you come from a very rough background, like super rough. So it's not like you even had an incentive, much incentive to be doing this. Other people your age, they just be comfortable living maybe off parents' money or doing whatever. So yeah,
Yeah.
you with the mindset you have now, dude, the the potential to just conquer the world within you is huge. As long as that's what you want to pursue, like whatever you want to pursue, you'll be able to get because you already see what is possible to achieve in this world. And I want to see that journey. So that's why I'll continue to do and keep doing follow ups. And it's really cool with these interviews because you get a snapshot of each stage in your life. Imagine looking back on this in 5 to 10 years and seeing how you were and where this all began, and even
Yeah.
showing your children maybe, and then them getting inspired. So it's just helping people's legacies. That's what I like to do.
That is awesome. And putting it that way is like, yeah, dude, it's like I have gone back and watched those other interviews and I'm like, ah, geek. Like
Dude, same. But I can't look at my old self. I say this all the time, dude. I can't look at my old interviews. It's so
yeah, I know.
how was I
It's
like
so
that?
bad.
But that's how you know you're changing. And it's
Exactly.
good, yeah.
Yeah,
All right, that was a quick tangent. Awesome. Let's
that's
see.
awesome.
Average day changed since last time. Probably not worth asking. I'm guessing not too many details there, right?
Of what?
Since how okay, let me rephrase. How average day has changed since last time. Is there much of a change? Like substantial or no? Since last time, sorry.
Much more organized. You know, it's the little things like I kind of was referring to earlier. It's very everything's systematized. Everything's like has a purpose. You know, I know that if I wake up at this time and I go and I drink water and I drink coffee and I read the Bible, I'm going to be much more productive during my first work session. So it's all efficient and there's not really time wasted, you know. All of it's work. That's what I came up with is like when I'm at practice, when I'm, you know, lifting, when I'm getting a workout in by myself, when I'm taking my mom out to dinner, when I'm, you know, taking my girlfriend out to dinner, when I'm hanging out with those people for that time at the end of the day, it's all work because running your life and building your life up to the point where it's, you know, what you want, all of that requires work. So
Mhm.
that would be the main shift, and it's just more of like a mental shift versus like big change in like what I'm actually
Mhm.
doing.
All right, cool. Okay, so since you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
All right. Short term, I guess, is the whole college thing, which won't be happening for me. Yeah.
Oh no, why not? Isn't college great? Don't you need a degree to succeed? What do you mean you're not gonna go to college?
Exactly, man. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna be an absolute bum and not go to college and just, you know, start a six-figure business at 18 and keep growing that and be a millionaire by 22. So, you know, that's the goal short term. I said that goal a while back and it was just kind of like randomly like 23 million dollars. And I'm like actually gonna hit that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I plan to get my first real estate property by the time I'm 18, 19 in that kind of way. So saving towards that. Um just it's adding a layer every single time. So getting into real estate, hitting that first milestone, scaling up the business. Um, I mean, joining the war room fully. That's a big one. Already have my down payment there, and what is good is that like all of you guys who like, let's say Justin is also putting out like little bits about war room events, and so is Andrew and all this kind of stuff. So you kind of see what goes on, and it's just incredibly worth it. So scale business, war room, real estate. That's in the next 2 to 3 years.
Very solid. Okay. Now, I'd say that's a pretty good catch up for now. We'll
Yeah.
save everything else in 3 months because, as you said, right now it's been a different kind of period, maybe consolidating things, restructuring. So it's just from here, it's going to be a huge upward trajectory.
Yeah.
So look forward to that follow up in 3 months. Now, since this all began in the real world, I'll wrap up with my final question for people who are still unsure about joining, because what if for those $50 they'll get scammed? What advice do you have to them?
Cancel your OnlyFans subscription and then use it to join, bro. Like I don't know, man. In the past, I've said, you know, it's gonna be the best decision you're ever gonna make, and I stand by that completely, and it will be. But to a certain extent, good. Don't join. Be a loser. I'll win. You know, I'll win. You can wash my car. You know, whatever. Um, and if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that. That's on you. But anybody who that kind of pisses off, you know where you need to go. Yeah. So
Mhm. And
that's what I
that's
would
the
say.
harsh reality of it. So
Yeah.
you're completely right. And for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
At Micah J Copy on Twitter, MICAHJCOPY on Twitter. That's where you can message me, follow me, all that kind of stuff. Micah Jacoby on YouTube. Planning on cranking out more stuff on there soon. And then at Micah Jacoby, MICAHJOCOBI on Telegram as well. You can message me if you want to.
Okay, we'll add those to the description of the video. And yeah, Micah, awesome to catch up. And I wish you all the best. Look forward to the next one.
You as well, Ruckus. Always a pleasure.